Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good morning, all. Thank you for joining us today for a webinar on GLOF management in Pakistan. That is basically an effort that Pakistan has been doing for several years. And we ran two projects, GLOF-I and GLOF-II. And we are joined by different experts. Dr. Sulagna Mishra, she is a scientific officer with World Meteorological Organization, and she is communicating with the global community on the launch of International Year of Glaciers Preservation. And we have also joined by Kamal, who is a National Program Manager of GLOF-II, that is UNDP and Government of Pakistan project, and also Ijaz Ahmed Khan, who has been working with GLOF on different initiatives, and Ali Jaber Malik, he is working with Sustainable Development Policy Institute as Policy and Communication Officer, and we will be joining by some other guests as well. They are trying from the highlands, from Gezer, Khalil Ahmed Sahab. He's unable so far to join us. I don't know if he will be able to do it or not. Meanwhile, I would like to say a few words about the state of glaciers in Pakistan. That is a matter of significant concern due to the impacts of climate change, global warming, and other environmental pressures. Pakistan is home to more than 7,000 glaciers, primarily in the Karakoram, Himalayan, and Hindu Kush ranges. The country has the largest number of glaciers outside the polar regions, forming a critical source of water for millions of Pakistan downstream through the Indus River system. I think GLOF-II is a $39 million project. It was financed by the Green Climate Fund, and the same approximately was the amount of GLOF-I. But still we see that the increasing factor of GLOF in Pakistan, more than 3,000 lakes are said to be in the highlands of Pakistan, and about 300 or some GLOF lakes are very dangerous and risky, and some of them erupt every year in the monsoon season and destroy most of the infrastructure on the way to the sea through across Pakistan. So this is the situation. And while we are launching International Year of Glaciers Preservation, Devcom-Pakistan pitched the idea of talking about the GLOF phenomena in Pakistan, the management, and how, what are the lessons learned, and what could be the way forward while we are celebrating International Year of Glaciers Preservation. And we are thankful to WMO. They have selected our concept of the webinar as a sidelight event. Thank you, Dr. Sulagna Mishra. You have joined us for the opening remarks. What is International Year of Glaciers Preservation, and what could be the methodology of going through the year-long initiatives, and how it can benefit the initiatives Pakistan has taken in the GLOF preservation and creating awareness among the communities in the highlands. And now the mic is yours, Dr. Sulagna Mishra. You can unmute yourself and talk about the objectives and the initiatives of the International Year of Glaciers Preservation. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Munir. Dear esteemed delegates, colleagues from DevCom, good morning, good afternoon if there is someone joining from other time zones. Happy Year of Glaciers to all of you. And this is my honor to be here to welcome you to the launch of the International Year of Glacier Preservation. Today is the official launch of the year. The year, of course, started on the 1st of January. And also welcome you to this side event, which is organized so meticulously by our colleagues from DevCom, and going to talk about the important topic of GLOFs, which is not just affecting one country, Pakistan, but is affecting many regions. Just give me 1 second, sorry. Phone Extremely sorry, my phone was still on alarm mode. It's early morning here in Geneva. Apologies for that. Yes, so the topic of GLOFs is not just important for one or two countries, but it's really affecting several regions and several countries, and we see so many disasters happening because of GLOFs around the world. And this is therefore very, very important that on the occasion of the launch of the International Year, we are talking about this and also learning from your experiences of how GLOFs is being managed in Pakistan. A little bit of background of the International Year. The United Nations General Assembly in December 2022 established the International Year of Glacier Preservation through a resolution, which is supposed to be inaugurated also on the 21st of March as the annual day for glaciers, and then every year after this, 21st of March will be celebrated as the World Day of Glaciers. What does these kind of years and days bring to us? The initiative aims to mobilize global action and to also look at different causes and consequences of accelerating glacier mass. The experts talk about this always, but these kind of years and days, it gives us a platform to discuss this and also collaborate between different countries, different regions, different organizations to bring this problem to the forefront and discuss about this and channelize more, not just advocacy, but also resources and actual action. The implementation of the International Year is co-hosted by WMO and UNESCO. I'm delighted to share with you that today, in the occasion of the launch of the International Year, we will have a plenary event from 2 to 4 Central European time. But apart from that, like this side event, we have 30 plus online side events which are happening, which are organized by member states, by UN agencies, by partner organizations. And this level of participation really shows the significance and the urgency of the cause. And it also helps us to bring this to the next level. So UN itself, we need the collaboration from all of you to make these years and these initiatives successful. Preserving glaciers is absolutely vital because it is a priority. It's not only vital for ecosystems and economy, but also for the health of our planet. Glaciers, high mountain regions, which serve as the critical water source for billions of people, providing drinking water, supporting agriculture, enabling industry, and also producing clean energy. Protecting them is not just our environmental priority, but also necessary for humanity survival. The cryosphere, which is comprising of glaciers, snow, ice sheets, permafrost, sea ice, etc., is undergoing rapid change, as we all know. And in some cases, these changes are irreversible because of global warming. As a key focus for WMO, we work with international collaboration for better monitoring and to understand these changes and how they are impacting the communities, the economy, the infrastructure, and how we can really lessen the speed of this change and also reverse this change if possible in some of the areas. The cryosphere also serves us as a warning system. The glaciers that are melting show us that we are only working in the wrong direction when it comes to carbon dioxide emission for heat trapping of other heat trapping gases, because this is only reaching record highs. And talking about record highs, the year of 2024 was the hottest year on record, with the global temperature approximately 1.55 degrees above the pre-industrial levels. It also marked that for the first time, we temporarily crossed the 1.5 degrees threshold. Over the past decade, every year has been ranked as the warmest year on record. So every year we are breaking our own records of getting higher and higher in the temperature scale. And each fraction of these degrees, they matter because they bring irreversible changes to the ecosystem, to the economies, and to our future generations. According to WMO's latest reports, we have a report on global water resources, the state of the global water resources report. We also have reports on state of the global climate, and we also have regional reports, which records all these changes year after year. And we have seen that in 2024, it really reveals the gravity of the situation, both from the climate perspective and also from the water perspective. In 2023, we saw that the glaciers, we lost the maximum amount of glacier mass balance in the last 5 decades. So in 1 year, in the year 2023, this was the highest. And we also saw that in Switzerland, which is supposed to be the water tower of the entire Europe, we lost around more than 10% in the last 3 years. And these numbers are massive. It's because of we are having in the last 3 years we have been having mild winters, so not enough snow recharge, but we are having unusually hot summers. And these are also the case, this is just an example of Switzerland, but we are having these examples all over the world. Enhancing our ability to monitor the cryosphere and also the downstream water resources is crucial to be able to make the right kind of decisions, and also enhancing our ability to monitor the changes in the glaciers is vital for being able to make any kind of predictions on how these masses are going to change. For effective climate action, we have to rely on accurate data, and this is where WMO comes in with a commitment to improve global data exchange, to improve global glacier and other cryospheric component monitoring, and also enhancing transboundary collaboration. We cannot do this alone as one standing country or one standing region, but we really need regional as well as global collaboration. We have initiatives like Global Cryosphere Watch, which looks at the data. We have WMO Integrated Global Observing System. We have WMO Climate Observing System, and also Hydrological Status and Outlook Systems, Hydro-SOS, which helps us to look at what is the current scenario of the water availability today, how does the status look today, and how is it going to look in the next months. So this can help us then in planning of our resources. These are some of the vital programs that we provide for data and services that needs to be implemented to address these challenges that we are having today related to glaciers and cryosphere. We are also delighted to be engaging a lot with youth, also recognizing their role in driving the energies and the efforts. They are the future. They are the tomorrow for us, and their involvement is absolutely necessary, not just in awareness raising, but also in the scientific forefront. In my closing remarks, I would like to extend my gratitude to Munir and also to the organizers of this event. I wish you a very, very fruitful discussions and a very productive next 1 hour. And I hope we can get this recording at the end, and the outcome of this discussion will make it to the main document that will then be submitted to the UN General Assembly when we provide a closing report of the international year. And I'm sure we have a lot to learn from the experiences that DevCom has in catering and predicting GLOFs and in managing them. With that, I give you the floor back, Munir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sulagna Mishra, for your wonderful opening remarks. And my question is that when the COPs, yani Conference of Parties on Climate Change, has been, significantly failed to reduce or the carbon emissions all over and convince the industrial countries to contribute to Green Climate Fund and Loss and Damage Fund, how this year would, harness the potential or will be able to bring those stakeholders on board to contribute their bit of money for the preparedness of the vulnerable countries.
Sorry. Thank you, Munir. I would not say that the COP has completely failed. Of course, the amount of funding that we expect to see has not been mobilized, but we do see a lot of funding being mobilized, and the awareness definitely has gone up. You can see that with the number of green energy companies that are coming up, the battery-run vehicles that are coming up, etc. So we really shouldn't say that this has completely failed, but yes, more can be done. About the year, we already see, because this year is very specific, we are talking about specific actions and what kind of funding we require for each of these actions. For the implementation of the year, we started after 2022 December, of course, when this was launched. We started with the planning phase. We took from the community, which also included finance people, for example, from the banks, etc., on what exactly do you need from the scientific community, from the member states, from the international organization to be able to fund our initiatives better. And based on these inputs, we created this roadmap. So what we have now are 4 different task forces, and each of them, in total, they have around 200 organizations who are a part of these task forces. And the task forces are divided based on the themes. So we have one of the task forces on advocacy. There is one on resource mobilization. There is one on monitoring and research on initiatives, etc. So based on the different task forces, we also have different different outcomes that is expected and actions for that. And we have identified funding requirements or gaps, not just in terms of funding, but also in terms of capacity, etc., that is needed for each of these actions. So now when the pitching of the funding is being done, this is done in a very specific manner and for a specific activity, which is very, very easy. It's rather easy for the banks and the funds to put money into when they know which is the action it's going into and what is the outcome that's going to be and what is the time frame. Of course, we do not expect to finish all the actions that we start in this year, but this year will be a point in history from where the action started. This is how we would like to look at this year. And just to give you quick examples, we have so based on the task forces activities that are happening and the asks that are happening, we have already started mobilizing funds. And we also have a trust fund that has been set up by the UN, where different organizations are already putting in money and funds, which is then allocated to the actions of the 4 task forces. I invite you to look at the event today at 2 Central European time, which is the plenary high-level event. And in this event, we are going to give you an overview of what has been done so far in terms of action and what is expected in the next throughout the year.
Thank you so much for your wonderful explanation. And hopefully, the countries, those are responsible for climate change would act more vigorously. And I believe that this year will culminate more awareness and more dynamic actions towards the zero carbon initiative. Thank you. You stay with us. Meanwhile, I would like to request Kamal Kamar Sahab to brief us what initiatives has been taken over the years under the GLOF-II and what were the lessons learned from the GLOF-I and what common Pakistani belief that the interventions could not deliver the outcomes that were required to protect the communities and the infrastructures and the floods that we have been facing. Kamar Saab, where are you? Kamal Kamar Saab, please go ahead.
Thank you, Munir Saab. First of all, I will introduce myself. I'm Qamaruddin Kamar, working as National Project Manager of GLOF-II. GLOF-II is GSA-funded project, and it started in July 2017. And it's being implemented by the Ministry of Climate Change and Environmental Coordination in partnership with IYGP Pakistan. And this project is being implemented in 24 valleys of Pakistan, northern Pakistan. We have 10 valleys in Gilgit-Baltistan and in 8 districts of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. So the total beneficiaries from this project are around 700,000 people. And so the project's multi-layer approach, it is trying to strengthen national and sub-national institutional capacities for climate responsive planning and development, and scaling up of community-based early warning systems and long-term climate adaptation measures through capacity enhancement trainings. So under this project, we will install 287 early warning systems in our 24 valleys, and currently we have been able to install 188 systems, and by December this year we'll install the rest of the systems. And there are other interventions under this project, including rehabilitation of irrigation channels, which help to provide greater access of water to communities and help farmers to irrigate their fields. And until now, we have been able to rehabilitate 240 irrigation channels. And we also been working on small-scale infrastructure projects. And our target was 250. But due to greater demand from the communities, we have completed 355 small-scale infrastructure projects. Also, we are working on slope stabilization through plantation, and we have completed plantation in 700 hectares of land in Gilgit-Baltistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. And we have established community-based disaster risk management centers in our 24 valleys. And when it comes to soft interventions, we have carried out 1,058 community sensitization sessions, which include GLOF awareness sessions, mock drills, stakeholder communication and coordination workshops, exposure visits, and trainings on alternate livelihood opportunities. Also, we support demonstration and documentation of indigenous best practices, including formation of ice stupas, glacier grafting, avalanche harvesting. And we also work on education and awareness activities through this project. So as Munir Saab pointed out, there are actually more than 7,000 glaciers, and recently EVK2 Senar carried out a study, and the exact number of glaciers in Pakistan is 13,032. And these glaciers, as you know, due to global warming, many glacial lakes they form, and currently there are over 300 lakes which are highly vulnerable. And so the government launched GLOF-I project in 2015, and it had a budget of around $3.5 million. And then when it completed, the GLOF-II project was launched, and it's a flagship project. And the total budget under this project is around $37 million. So there's, as you know, there's more need, and there are more valleys which are vulnerable. And so the GLOF-II project will end in December 2025, and we are hoping that the government and Green Climate Fund will support for the GLOF-III project as well, because there are more, communities which, due to increased climate change, we need more interventions like the GLOF-II. So that's it from my side, Munir Saab. If you have another question, then I'm happy to respond.
Sir, thank you very much. My question was, thank you. I like to put up two questions. One, what were the lessons learned from GLOF-I, and now GLOF-II is also about to come to the end, and what are the lessons learned from GLOF-II, and what could be the way forward? And you are talking about GLOF-III. So why we needed GLOF-III, and what are the lessons learned from the previous two GLOF projects?
So we need more climate action, but unfortunately, last night United States withdrew from the Paris Climate Agreement, and I don't know how it will affect the climate funding in future. But I didn't manage the GLOF-I project. Khalil Saab, who is also, I think, taking part in this discussion, he was the manager of GLOF-I. And under GLOF-I, we had installed 3 early warning systems. So and then we felt that those early warning systems were not enough to cater for the whole area. So they were scaled up to 287 early warning systems in under GLOF-II project. And since the glaciers are retreating, on a fast pace, and the local communities, they feel that more interventions are needed. So I think that the developed countries need to, as you said, that under the global, the funding arena, they need to contribute more to the climate finance. And if it's not done, then things are going to get worse in the future, because almost all of the population in mountainous areas in GB and KP, they are dependent on water from glaciers. So if the glaciers are not there, then their lives are going to be very difficult.
Thank you, Kamal Saab, for your deliberation. And certainly, after the Trump's win, this second time, the White House office, so we were expecting the same, because it was on the agenda that they will put out United States from the Paris Agreement, as he did in his first tenure. So. And the COP29 also missed the 13 largest industrial countries, the polluters of 70% of carbon emissions. So the situation is a bit gloomy, but still we need to believe that the good things will happen, and we shall keep on striving and putting up our efforts to save the humanity and the people. And unfortunately, Khalil Ahmed, the former national project manager of GLOF, would not join us because he is in Glaciers, and he tried a couple of times. He just messaged me that he won't be able. But we have with us the the Director EPA, Gilgit-Baltistan, Khadim Hussain Sahab. Khadim Hussain Sahab, can you unmute yourself and tell us what is the
Munir
situation? Ji.
Munir Sahab, Assalamu alaikum. I am here. I have joined.
Khalil Sahab, thank you very much. Because
I am sorry. Initially, there was some problem in the.
Okay. Khalil Ahmed Sahab, former National Project Manager, GLOF-I, is with us, and he's been instrumental in a couple of initiatives, more than his own prime duties. I welcome Khalil Ahmed. Please go ahead and tell us what were the lessons learned from the GLOF-I, and what were the major interventions, and how those interventions changed the lives of the people. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Munir Sahab, and everyone who have joined this webinar. And special thanks to Munir Sahab for connecting all of us to discuss a very important, point, agenda point, which is actually necessary for all life on Earth, on the planet. So, actually, I worked as a National Project Manager in the GLOF-I project. This was from 2011 to 2015. So it was the first formal climate change adaptation project in the country, and also was the formal project on GLOF issues in Pakistan. So we implemented this project in collaboration with Ministry of Climate Change, also the National Disaster Management Authority, the Provincial Disaster Management Authorities, the local administration, district administration. And the most important part of this project was the involvement of the vulnerable communities, mountain communities of two districts, one in Gilgit and one was in KP province. So we piloted some of the activities in this through this project, through deep involvement of the communities. Actually, the communities drive the interventions. So one of the success of this project was due to the leading role of the vulnerable communities in both of the districts. We had taken the target communities beneficiaries from the very beginning of the project, from the inception, launching, and then during planning and also implementation. We actually very actively involve the communities in planning and implementation of the project activities. So one of the strength of the GLOF-I project was the quite enough involvement of the beneficiary communities or target communities. So they actually drive us. In many times we planned some of the activities, and finally the communities, they dropped that activities. So we had to respect the decision of the communities. And then the second one was actually, this was the first project, and we had to pilot many things. We had to, develop the baseline. Before this project, there was no baseline, and by research and by conducting studies on the glacier number, that time, that inventory was telling us that there are more than 7,000 glaciers in Pakistan. But now, gradually, after 10 years now, we have come to know that there are more than 13,000 glaciers. The actual thing is not to, have the knowledge of, number of glaciers. Actually, these glaciers have very strong ties in the field with different, sectors of life, because these glaciers have ties with the livelihoods and lives of people living in the mountain areas. And these glaciers also have ties with nature. These glaciers also have very strong ties with the environment, with the water cycle. These also have very good ties with, fresh water availability, and also have, the most important thing is, the Pakistan's glaciers have ties with the, international ties, like, they have global values. So the most important thing is to address the, emerging issues related to glaciers. So in Pakistan, more than 70% of the fresh water is produced through these glaciers, and these glaciers melt during spring and then summer, and they provide water to the immediate, beneficiaries, the communities living around these glaciers, and then the extra water, fetches down to the downstream and goes through the entire country. So the most important thing we have to discuss is, so far we are only focusing on a side effect of, glacier health. These glaciers are, deteriorated, or you can say these are disturbed gradually from time to time, and now the glaciers have created few of the side effects. Some of the side effects are glacier burst, and some are the glacier lake outburst. And once the glacier lake outburst happens, then it creates, a catastrophe downstream, and it, generates a lot of flash floods, and also they wash out everything downstream. So the communities living in the mountains, by nature, they like to, live nearby the glaciers and water streams, because the main reason is to easily access to the water. So, water is like, water is not only important for the human beings. I think the water serves as a, blood for the planet Earth. Everything, surrounds around the water. The life of plants, life of wildlife, life of any life on the earth, it depends. It depends. It is very highly dependent on fresh water. So, Pakistan's glaciers out of the polar region, they are the biggest glaciers in the world. So these glaciers are, gradually these are decreasing, and these are melting very fast. And actually, the GLOF or glacier outburst is not a new phenomena. We learned from the GLOF-I project that the GLOFs were occurring from centuries in the area, but they were unnoticed, and there was no record was found, because people were not concentrating on such kind of, issues. They were concentrating on their daily life. But once the GLOF-I project launched, we tried to raise the awareness of the people, and we learned from people that GLOF is not a new phenomena. It is occurring from the centuries, but it was unnoticed by the researchers and also by the policymakers. So a new trend emerged, and we also generated a lot of, knowledge in the first GLOF project. So we created different kind of terminologies, and also, documented the words of mouths of the local communities, and we made it access to the global community. We had developed a project website, but unfortunately later on, when the GLOF-II was launched, that GLOF-I site has been, abolished, and I could not access anymore to the GLOF-I site, because there were a lot of, hundreds of reports were uploaded for the local, national, as well as for the global access to work further on the issues and challenges created by climate change and global warming. And the major impact is on the melting of glaciers. So glaciers are melting very fast, and there is no alternative. And there is a saying that there are alternatives for oil and gas, but there is no alternative for the water. So we have to think about the glaciers. The actual
Okay.
issue is not about the glacier lake outburst or the avalanche. The actual issue is the melting and disappearing glaciers from the remote areas, which is a very alarming, sign of global warming and also climate change indicator. So we need to think. We need to be very serious, and we need to seriously think on how we can, stop, we can reduce the melting of these glaciers. Munir Saab, hand over to
Thank
you. Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Khalil Saab. I have one question, and the
Yeah.
same question I will also ask Kamaluddin Kamar Sahab. That
Yeah.
what are the local reasons that expedite the GLOF phenomena? Khalil Saab.
Local reasons, actually, the communities living in the mountain areas, they prefer to live nearby the glaciers and water sources because they want to easily access to the water for their daily life and for their animals, for their, irrigation, for their orchards, for their agriculture fields. So what they do is, and the other thing is, the local communities mostly depend, upstream areas. In upstream areas means they, have to walk to go to, collect fuel wood. They have to collect, they have to take their animals to graze in the upper upstream areas nearby the glaciers. So the human activity is, throughout the year they have to practice this. So
Okay.
the main reason is, their livelihood depends on the natural resources, existing in the upstream areas.
Okay.
So the thing is, you can divert the pressure through promoting alternate livelihood options for those communities. So you can, divert their pressure from upstream to downstream, and then you can, reduce risk, and, a little bit. You can also. The other important thing is, we need to actually promote natural forests, conserve natural forests. I have seen that the areas where glaciers are found, and if there are natural forests, pine trees are nearby the glaciers, their health is, better than the areas where there is no natural forest. So we
Okay.
need to
Thank
protect
you.
the remaining natural forest, and also to improve the, and plant new forests.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Kamaluddin Kamar Saab, same is the question. What are the local phenomena they are contributing to the extensive GLOF phenomena? Kamaluddin Kamar Saab.
Yeah, I agree with Khalil Saab. The first reason is deforestation. The local people, they rely on firewood from natural forests. And what the government can do is that it can provide LPG air mix plants like it has done in Gilgit, and to subsidize, LPG in these valleys will help in preservation of natural forests. And the second main reason, I think, is increase in vehicular traffic in these areas. And we have seen over the years a boom in tourism in Gilgit-Baltistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and this has led to localized heating in those areas, and increased pollution. And in Gilgit alone, more than 8,000 vehicles are being registered on a yearly basis. So increased traffic and pollution is also contributing to GLOFs.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you very much. I was expecting that our guest speakers would say that it is the a massive deforestation that because of some vested interest and also the increased housing structures over there. I believe like they are the two major contributors to a GLOF phenomena or hitting up of the high hills. I have with us, we have with us Dr. Ghulam Rasool, former Director General of Pakistan Met Office. Dr. Saab, are you with us? Dr. Ghulam Rasool Sahab.
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम
थैंक यू डॉक्टर गुलाम रसूल साहब, आपने हमें ज्वाइन किया एंड इट्स ग्रेट प्लेजर। मुझे ये बताइए कि we have listened to Khalil Sahab and we have listened to Kamaruddin Qamar Sahab. As I mentioned that in my point of view, the massive deforestation by the mafias and the second major contributing factor to GLOF phenomena is the increased housing structures. That is one of the outcome of the increased tourism over there. Rest houses and guest houses and hotels and increased human activity over there. What do you think? If we can curtail the human activity around the glacier areas in our highlands?
जी Munir साहब, I agree with both the speakers. Both the arguments are very well endorsed by me also, because there is increasing urbanization in the towns of Gilgit-Baltistan and Chitral area where glaciers are located. And also there are some pollution factors, a lot of litter during the summer season, when which is tourist season, we can call in GB and Chitral area. Tourists go there, they enjoy life, they produce litter, and that litter is thrown on the glaciers or near the glaciers, which is creating pollution problems for the glaciers. And one thing which I would like to mention, the locals have also some contribution, because they know traditionally which are the water pathways when glaciers are receding through the terminus. Water is coming out, and in some cases lakes are formed, and those lakes grow up to the dangerous levels, and sometimes they burst and they create they inflict a lot of loss and damage in that area. But the locals, knowing this fact, they are constructing their houses at the most vulnerable positions, which are not, I think, which should not be allowed. The local authorities can take this responsibility. While there are growing populations, they should not move towards the glacier water pathways.
Okay. Dr. Saab, can you suggest a couple of recommendations as a way forward?
Yes, I think the tourism should be encouraged, but tourism should be very well managed. Like China, in Chinese glaciers, glacier number 12, I know, near Lanzhou, that is world-renowned glacier for tourism. And that glacier is very well preserved. Communities, I think every day thousands of people visit that glacier, but you cannot find any litter, you cannot find any degradation You cannot find any hotel or the restaurant built along the pathways of the glaciers. So we should take very strict measures on tourism management. So
Right. One is tourism management. What second?
The second is encourage, train the communities, local communities. Qamar Saab and Khalil Saab mentioned that there are the community awareness campaigns, but still we think they should know about these assets. They should take the ownership, and the scientists who are working in those areas, they should also take communities along with, and communities should take ownership, and then I think there will be a win-win situation.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. Now I would request Khadim Hussain Saab, Director Gilgit-Baltistan Environmental Protection Agency. Khadim Saab, it's your turn. Yes.
Assalamualaikum.
Khadim Saab, we have spoken a lot about the factors contributing to GLOF and the situation over there. My specific question is regarding the role of EPA. EPA, we have seen doing a wonderful job over there, but in some of the areas, as like other EPAs, Environmental Protection Agency of Gilgit-Baltistan also could not deliver much. Can you please switch on your video? You just
okay.
Please, it would be great to see you, because unfortunately my side is like a power breakdown, and the generator basically, transformer basically blown up. I don't know why. So मुझे सिर्फ ये बताइए, like if you please deliberate upon the specific question, that as I mentioned, most of the housing structures, they are coming up. The mushroom growth of guest houses, restaurants, and hotels over there. As Dr. Ghulam Rasool mentioned, that tourism shall be managed. Same is this tourism structure. And secondly, we have seen a massive deforestation by the timber mafia. These are the two questions, Khadim Saab.
Sir, thank you for having me. I would like to, sir, go beyond your two questions.
Please go ahead.
Sir, Kamal Saab is here, and Khalil Saab is also here. I also work with Kamal Saab or Khalil Saab in GLOF-I also. सर जो असल में जो हम पाकिस्तानी का जो इशू है ना, हम जो कहते हैं वो करते नहीं हैं, सबसे बड़ा ये इशू है. ठीक है, इन अ लाइटर नोट, alongside that, what EPA is doing or deforestation and so on, I would like to share the real issues what we are facing in terms of glacier protection, GLOF, climate change, environmental degradation, and so on and so forth. Like you are on generator, we are also on generators in Gilgit-Baltistan. Despite having enormous potential of clean energy, we used to experience 22 hours load shedding starting from November onwards to May, on late May. So you can imagine the use of thermal generators in each and every facility, either it's in hotel industry or it's in households or in government sector. The emissions we are, releasing by using these thermal generators, using diesel and petrol. We are living with glaciers here in Gilgit-Baltistan, and glaciers live with us. You can see one of the, after the polar regions, we have the highest amalgamation of glaciers in Gilgit-Baltistan, the highest peaks, the largest glaciers from Siachen, Biafo, Hisper, Balto. All these glaciers are along the main highways. You can see Pasu Glacier, Malanguti Glacier along the main KKH. So a minor level of intervention can, impact hugely on these vulnerable resources. Recently, we have conducted a baseline survey, in Gilgit-Baltistan to address all these issues. First, I would like to, share some key issues and within the government sector or with the NGOs or with the community. First of all, what we have done is that, we all of a sudden we abolished the local customary laws and the local instruments to govern all these resources. All of a sudden, we have introduced rules and regulations from the cut and paste from various, international countries are like that. So we need to, inculcate, we need to enforce all these local customary laws and instruments to govern all these resources. As your question regarding the deforestation and, development of mass tourism like that, what EPA has done in last couple of years, EPA has established in 2014. We are not, that much old like KP EPA, Sindh EPA, and Punjab EPA. Despite having, enormous potential of, resources, right now we have no baseline data on glacier lakes, on glacier melting and accumulation of black carbon like that. Last couple of years ago, we have conducted a baseline survey in some critical areas of Gilgit-Baltistan, and we came across a very, disastrous situation in majority of areas and rural areas. In addition to the glaciers, people use animal dung and other, highly polluted sources of energy like coal and dry animal dung and peat lands to, heat their homes during the harsh winters. All these, sources contribute hugely, impacts all those glaciers, deposition of black carbon, soot, and unnecessary exposure of, human intervention and festivities within the glaciated areas. So initially, when we conducted all these, baseline surveys in collaboration with Suparco and some other good agencies, we came to know that we need to enforce rules and regulations, strict and rule regulations to regulate all these, activities. Mining is being done within the glaciated areas in Gilgit-Baltistan. All the forest is, adjacent to the glaciated areas. All human settlements, mostly in Krakam area, people living near glaciated areas. Without, providing alternative sources of energy and livelihoods, we cannot protect all these glaciers and GLOF phenomena. And some years ago, Pakistan Meteorological Department, published a report of, potential GLOF sites, almost 3,000 sites, more than 3,000 sites with 34 potential GLOF sites. Keeping in view all that report, the GLOF project has been implemented in Gilgit-Baltistan in almost in 16 valleys to strengthen the adaptive capabilities of the communities living along these glaciated areas. That is a very good project, but why we fail to achieve the targets of all these projects or all these interventions, that we don't have any baseline data regarding the sources of air pollution, sources of pollution that destruct the glaciers, that melt the glaciers, or that promote or trigger glacial lakes. Recently, we have introduced 3 rules and regulations. One is Gilgit-Baltistan ecologically sensitive and critical area rules 2024. that has been, approved, that has been approved by the GB cabinet. Under these rules, no one can establish any hotel or any other infrastructure at near glacier areas. Apart from that, we have introduced recently Combat to Climate Change Rules 2024 to regulate unnecessary exposure of these sensitive areas in the name of tourism or in the name of tourism promotion. In Peru and Argentine, they have promulgated glacier protection law to protect all these glaciers. They have some little glaciers like that. We have world's largest glaciers from Siachen, Biafo, Hispar, Baltoro, like that. So we need to enforce glacier protection rules. We have to regulate tourism. We have to regulate unnecessary tourism-related festivities at high alpine areas like Shendur, Rama, Devasai, and so on. So we are in the phase of in the transition phase to regulate all these sectors. Despite we have huge pressure from various sectors. Even so many people try to reach K2 base camp through tourism promotion or like that, but they dump huge quantities of trash over there. It's very cumbersome task to take all these trash back to some safe site. So we are in process of promulgation of rules and regulations to limit all these activities within the glaciated areas. Recently, we have formulated a project in collaboration with Suparco, and we have almost established 8 weather stations in collaboration with an Italian NGO, EVK along major glaciated areas from Baltoro up to Hispar Glacier and Paso Glacier, like that. Recently, we have issued NOCs for almost 23 automatic weather stations to UNDP under GLOF-II project, 89 water river gauging stations and sensors, 58 automatic rain gauging systems. Without having all these, monitoring instruments, you cannot establish any baseline, whether to document what is happening with the glaciers, what we are releasing into the environment, what is the impacts of mass tourism. Recently, we have concluded a baseline survey of CPEC area in collaboration with Suparco to assess the current situation of air quality and land use and land cover mapping, in keeping in view the CPEC intervention when the Chinese dollars are coming from China after the operationalization of CPEC. So we need baseline data, and we in almost all of our major research agencies, including PMD, PAWABDA, Suparco, we are lacking all these data. So we need to have a data.
Okay.
On this data, we can build a building.
Okay.
So this is the some interventions we are doing right now.
Thank you very much for your wonderful briefing about the interventions being taken by EPA Gilgit-Baltistan and what are the causes and what could be done. Now I would move to Ejaz Ahmed Khan, who has been working with community. Ejaz Sahab, briefly, would you tell us, like in bullet points, what steps could be taken in the coming years to preserve glaciers? Ejaz Ahmed Khan. Ejaz Ahmed Khan. Okay. Ali Jaber Malik, are you there? Ali Jaber Malik.
Hello. Hello.
Ji Ejaz Sahab, please. Okay. We have talked a lot about the GLOF phenomena, glaciers, and the conditions and the contributing factors. Now, I would request you, like in bullet points, if you can suggest a way forward, like a
Yes.
couple of
Thank you, sir.
what things we should do to engage communities or overall to for the glacier preservation.
Yes, sir.
Ejaz
Thank you, sir, for taking me in this webinar. Sir, is already discussed our previous speakers, Khalil Saab, Kamal Saab, and Khadim Saab. Many points they already covered. So I would suggest that as we work with communities regarding awareness raising and capacity building, as we our this capacity building and awareness program was focused on conservation that involves protection, preservation, and management of natural resources to prevent their degradation, destruction, or extinction in the context of climate change. So we also focused on biodiversity, which related biodiversity and climate change and ecosystem. So I would suggest that the hello.
Gigi, we're listening to you.
I would suggest that the knowledge management should be incorporate the communities where in the 16 valleys where these GLOF-II activities are being implemented in GB. So the community knowledge are their traditional system of preservation, or they are also having different things they are already doing, like this preservation of uh, like the
ओके एजाज साहब आपकी
आइसटूका की बात हुई और ग्लेशियर्स की ग्राफ्टिंग की बात हुई, इसमें उनको थोड़ा सा सपोर्ट चाहिए होगा साइंटिफिकली. They have scientifically supported by the and some things like इसमें जैसे लॉ के हवाले से खादिम साहब ने डिस्कस किया कि हमारी जीबी गवर्नमेंट should take some laws that with friendly that will support the community intervention, like in regulating these the unplanned tourism for decreasing the emissions. जो बहुत सारी वैलीज के अंदर डायरेक्ट गाड़ियां जाती हैं नियर टू हमारी जो बिल्कुल ग्लेशियर के करीब, जैसे स्कर्दू में बहुत सारी वैलीज अभी ओपन अप हो रही हैं. इसी तरह फिर जब सर्दियां आती है तो वहां पे ड्यू टू दिस सवेयर कोड उनको जो अभी वहां पे इमिशन ड्यू टू दी ये जो हमारा ऑयल एंड गैस की उसकी कंजम्पशन की वजह से इमिशन सर्दी में भी बढ़ जाती है. तो ये दोनों एक तो टूरिज्म के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से जो इमिशन पोल्यूशन जो है ड्यू टू ये ट्रांसपोर्टेशन की वजह से, और फिर ड्यू टू कोल्ड वेदर में जब वो सर्दियों में यूज करते हैं ऑयल एंड गैस और दीगर, तो अल्टरनेटिव यूज ऑफ एनर्जी को बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है कि उनको उसको प्रोवाइड किया जाए, ताकि प्रेशर्स को जो ह्यूमन प्रेशर से उसको मिनिमाइज किया जाए ग्लेशियर्स के ऊपर जो इस वक्त प्रेशर है. और दूसरे है कि जी सर.
थैंक यू वेरी मच. अली जाबिर साहब, आर यू देयर?
यस सर.
जी अली साहब, अब मुझे ये बताइए कि अब काफी सारी बातें हो गई हैं. यू वर्क विद द सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट पॉलिसी इंस्टीट्यूट. व्हाट पॉलिसी इंटरवेंशंस यू थिंक आर रिक्वायर्ड at the federal and the provincial level, like 1, 2, 3, ऐसे आप if you can talk in bullet points please.
So sure sir. The first thing is polluter must pay principle should be adopted.
Okay.
The tourism that is entering the northern region, mostly they are the affluent families. No middle class or low middle class can afford to travel to northern areas. So it's really getting cumbersome at this moment. Nurse students have identified in their study that the air pollution and the ratio of ambient effluents is rising in the northern areas, especially close to the glacier region or other cities of the Gilgit-Baltistan and even KPK in Chitral region. There are only 543 glaciers alone in Chitral Valley. and the tourism level at that in those regions is at a, you can say, humongous level. So how we can control the littering, the air pollution, the emissions level would be from the polluter must pay. All the tourists entering in the territory in the northern region, in the glaciated region, would be liable of stringent punishments and penalties in terms of fines, and even in terms of no access to those regions if they pollute, if they emit more emissions, if they come with the cars that are emitting dark smoke. Because recently some studies have identified that earlier, due to the surface of those glaciers were not melting as faster, but now they are melting faster because due to the accumulation of dust and other particles, it is creating some dark layer on the glaciated surfaces that is attracting more heat than usual, which is also a component of rising emissions. Secondly, we have to start a land use planning in these areas. Otherwise, we will again face another crisis. And I heard some of the suggestions that LPG subsidy should be given to this region. Instead of that, we should capitalize on hydropower potential of this region, other renewable options, and we should promote electrified stoves and heating solutions that will reduce average time of women in kitchen, that will make family usage of heating practices efficient, and make households more energy efficient. Thirdly, we will have to, because we cannot stop melting by developing any hardcore infrastructure, but we can protect the communities by developing infrastructures like retaining walls or a community education. Gilgit-Baltistan is the perfect example of informed and educated community that has developed its community resilience over the times. During the Shishpur Glacier, not a single death was reported in the entire region. The reason behind that was that the community was properly trained, well educated on what SOPs would be followed after the first alert of any GLOF or glacial lake outburst flood starts in the region. So we very meticulously managed that issue, although there were massive infrastructure and livestock losses, but there were no human life losses.
Okay.
So this is a success story. These three interventions are the key to manage this issue.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Jaber Malik, for giving us the policy interventions or the expected way forward to glaciers preservation. We have three ladies with us. None of them raised their hand. Nusrat Bano, Sumaya Iram, and Sabiba. If any of the lady like to speak about climate change, glaciers, and the interventions that we have talked about. Any lady, any volunteer. Though we presume that women speak a lot, but here are the men only speaking about. Yeah, Sumaya, please go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum.
Ji, assalamu alaikum, Sumaya. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Sumaya Iram, working lady in Lahore, and I'm field scholar as well. So that's why this is my field. I mean, I'm a MSc zoology, so climate change, and this is a right now burning issue. My question is, abhi jo baat ki, like there are many precautionary measures which we can take, but the main thing is the awareness to community. How we can aware the community? I mean, I think so. There should be a strict actions, strict policies, or you can say very quick responses are required at this time to give awareness to community. But we are doing all things but in documents. Practically, how we can educate our community? I mean, like many families, they are visiting on annual basis to northern areas, but they are not well educated.
Okay.
So why we are not educating those people as well? Because climate change, it is a global issue, and for Lahore, it is no doubt a very crucial nowadays as well. So I think so. Please
Okay.
give me
Thank
guidance
you.
on it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. She raised a couple of things, one like raising awareness, more awareness among community, and then secondly, the visitors, the guests who are not sensitized towards the environment and their actions over there. Certainly, those who are responsible for it would take note of it. Nusra Banu, would you like to speak about anything? Saviba? No. With this, I think I should thank all the participants of the webinar today on GLOF management in Pakistan, the lessons learned and the way forward. And this webinar was organized by Devcom-Pakistan in connection with International Year of Glaciers Preservation, that is 2025. And I believe the recommendations coming out of the webinar would help the authorities to take note of and take into the main agenda of the glaciers preservation or the GLOF management in Pakistan. And I'm grateful to Dr. Sulagna Mishra, scientific officer of World Meteorological Organization. She joined us from Geneva early in the morning, and there was 7 o'clock at that time. And Khalil Ahmed Saab, the former National Program Manager, GLOF-I, and Kamaruddin Saab, National Program Manager, GLOF-II, Dr. Ghulam Rasool Saab, the former Director General, Pakistan Meteorological Department, and all those who joined us. Thank you very much. Ayan joined us from far away in the neighboring country. Thank you. Wish you all the best and take care of yourself.